This is things you might not have heard. I am Jacob Payne, and in the queue for you, 8 stories from the day that was yesterday, including Sonia Sotomayor, the Wicked movie website, right website, we should say, and Beyonce, plus 5 other stories that you can conversation. And today, a bit of a swerve. We'll do a bit of inside baseball on how we really got into some of these stories that were presented for you today. But we'll get to that in a minute. These stories all cover a gamut of great topics, including information, politics, and events, and pop culture news. And as I said, they're vetted by you as conversational. So none of these stories are out of whole cloth, something I picked. But we did a little bit of maneuvering because just the way things worked out today. We'll explain the full vetting process at the end of the headlines and do some inside baseball, if you will. But I want to remind you, our website is this. It's theconversationproject.com to find out more about our details, our background, and why we do the stuff we do today. And of course, the conversation inbox at gmail.com, which is our email address to complain if you want to. 8 stories, as we said. If I've not said so yet, today happens to be Tuesday, November the 12th, 2024. On this day, we'll get to the stories in no particular order as they're presented, other than just the way the narrative kind of worked out. They worked out this way. But like I said, a little over explanatory. We've got some explaining to do in some of the stories. Headline number one. Kick things off with this one right here. Republicans win House, delivering Trump a trifecta. Now, this is not quite a done deal, but on November 12th, the United States has concluded that the presidential election with former Donald Trump taking over, really defeating Kamala Harris for president spot number 47. This is because enough of the votes in key state vote counted, and he's sitting at around 310 electoral college votes as they still count a couple of other places. He needed 270 to win. He essentially got that number in pluses. So he's more than likely basically is by electoral college vote, and oddly enough, by over at least 5 million in the popular vote, the winner. Of course, the Senate took big, right now sitting at 52 seats, although we'll talk about some things that may change things up a little bit on that end, on how things work out. And right now, we're looking at the House of Representatives. Not quite a winner yet, be honest, but they're sitting at 214 seats. The majority must have 218. So chances are the House will get 4 more or 5, 6 more Republican seats, meaning that Trump win all 3 big pieces of the legislature for and the executive branch for himself for getting things done in his way. Let's move on to story number 2. And this really does affect why what is important for Trump to get everything he wanted and why it was important for the Democrats to try to get a little bit of headway to get some say. This is a story that's been floating around for a while, but right now, Justice Sonia Sotomayor is saying straight up, she ain't going nowhere. The Supreme Court justice is saying she remain in her post until she feels like getting down or something happens. Although many people are calling for her to step down because of her age, not because she's not getting work done, but because of her age and the notion that she may retire in a few years or something could happen, she can get sick and get ill in a few years, that would leave another court appointment to Donald J. Trump. Because if she pulls out right now in November, still have a couple months to maybe get someone else in the job so they don't replace it with another Republican, which seems kind of silly and kind of rash because it is. So this Sotomayor is saying she ain't going anywhere. She may be the oldest justice on the liberal side right now, but she's still got work to do and is going to keep on working until she's ready to go, until time basically makes it set to go. Of course, initially appointed in 2009, so he's been on the court for quite some time. The biggest thing is the fact that the liberals are fearing more conservative voices extremely taking over, not just a small majority, but a real supermajority of the court. And with Sotomayor being is more or less the next one up, we will see if this becomes an issue with her. Maybe she lives another, she's only 70, so she could live another 20 years and serve in the court. Other people who are getting old in tooth include, of course, Justice Thomas, who's even older and been on the court for much longer. No one's complaining about him stepping down. They want to get rid of Sotomayor because they want to preserve what little they have of a possible liberal bent on the actual court. The robot editor had some issues this morning, so we had to go through and kind of re-look some things. Here's an article that, as far as I can tell, was new, or at least recycled back as of last week. But reading deeper into what the article, what the robot editor pulled from the massive pieces of the ChatGPT database, basically made it sound like a rebuttal of the story. The headline for story number 2 is an actor has stated that Joker 2, Electric Boogaloo, is the worst movie ever. Now, they even actually name the actor. He's unnamed, so just some guy. He could have been bit player or key grip that kind of stepped in the limelight somehow. So the actor's identity has not been confirmed, so you can't get any real dirt on the guy. But basically, he sparked the conversation that really went with the long discussion that this movie does not do very well. Despite the fact everybody was geeked out about the 2019 Joker and were waiting for the sequel, when the sequel came, it whimpered big. So Joaquin Phoenix returned as Arthur Fleck, and Lady Gaga came in as Harley Quinn, sort of, produced by Todd Phillips, and explores themes of mental illness and societal breakdown through a musical lens and stylistic choices that intrigue some fans while raising skepticism among others. It just was a little too off for many people. Joker 2 not doing well in box office and not getting a lot of love going forward. Fact, it's even so weird that the fact that it's not so much in a real Batman universe, it even unbatmans the universe to a point where we may have an alternate Joker based on the Joker, which makes the story even more weirder. No one really liked the Joker or Joker 2. Everyone loved Joker, the first one. Joker 2, not getting the love that people thought it was going to get. And some people who were actually mauled it say, yeah, it's as bad as it was as bad as it was working on it as it is you guys watching it. Now, we're not going to get an E rating for this story because we're going to do it in a very mature manner, but bear with me for this one. This is one that's been flitting around for a little bit, and we finally got a chance to put it out there and let you guys engage in it. And boy, did you engage in it. People are geeked out about the new upcoming Ghost movies for Wicked, two parts. Yes, people are kind of, mad about the casting, Ariana Grande, one case, all blah, blah, blah. But here's the deal that's a real issue for the real money. Mark Mattel had to apologize as it accidentally listed an adult web film site on the Wicked Doll boxes. How could such a travesty happen? Well, the embarrassing situation happened when they misprinted the URL for an adult film site onto the Wicked Doll packaging, of course, themed after the musical movie Wicked. And these several doll boxes being distributed with the incorrect website, so many people effed around and found out on this one. So what happened? So when parents went to scan the QR code and check out the website for such said things to get more details on the movies, they got more details than they really thought they were going to get. For clarification, the website that hypes up the love of new film about the musical is wickedmovie.com. The website that was referenced in the boxes, that is the one that's not supposed to go to, is wicked.com. Wicked Movie talks about the movie, the musical, the love, the joy, Elphaba, and what's her name? And the other one shows naughty things that you should not go to. So I'm telling you right now, don't go to the other website. Just don't do it. Trust me on this. Taking a pause from the news ask you for a little assistance. We need your help. We need you in the kitty. We need you in the family. We need you in the club. So to help us get more people in the club, like you are, put your foot in the door right now. We need you to like the work that we're doing, like the stories, like the short clips, like the articles and emails and the audios we have. So have more people seeing what's out there. We'll get more people engaged in the algorithms, obviously. More people can get that social proof that this story has what you like. So this story, this video, this outing may be pretty good. If you know people who like this type of stuff and you think we're pretty good already, share it with those folks. Share it with more people so we get more people in the queue, in the actual conversation, more people doing the things to be a part of on here. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to what we have so you can make sure you don't miss out on what's going on. I had a conversation yesterday, just a random conversation that was someone who worked with. It's like, and your podcast is popping up in my feed. It's like, yes, we're getting some big numbers and big stories these days. So people are being fed myself who are kind of interested. And then I asked if she subscribed and she changed the subject. You don't change the subject. You subscribe so you don't miss out on what we have going on. Like, share, subscribe so we make sure we have more people in the conversations that we have for the conversation project. Back to the headlines. Back to more issues with the robot editor, to be honest. So the headline for this 5 reads like this. Spirit Airlines flight attendant injured after plane to Haiti struck by gunfire. However, the robot editor could not find any initial stories about planes being hit by gunfire. But back in October, Spirit Airlines did temporarily suspend its daily flights to Fort Lauderdale to Port-au-Prince, Haiti, following an incident where a UN helicopter was struck by gunfire near the airport, carrying some crew members and 15 passengers in the helicopter because they made emergency landing without injuries. The event highlighted the escalating gang violence in Haiti, which led to numerous casualties and displaced over 700,000 people. Right now, Haiti is kind of the hot messes in our hemisphere. What's going on? It's hard to really quantify all the issues going on between natural disasters, a breakdown in government, all sorts of things going on. Yes, it is sort of the poster child for an S-hole country. With the gang members basically holding things intact and the prime minister being ousted officially because the gang members don't think he's good for the job. It's a whole big mess there in Haiti. Something like planes not flying in because gangs are shooting at airplanes in the sky is a big deal. We hope to have some sort of resolution on Haiti, although Haiti has been in this sort of state of flux for quite some time. A very beautiful island nation with lots to give. Unfortunately, it's giving us a lot of grief and anguish at this point in time. Speaking of islands, dealing with grief and anguish of not of their own making, let's go back to Cuba, who days ago we talked about the second hurricane that hit the island, knocking out its power and its terrible power grid there. A few days ago, a 6.8 magnitude earthquake hit Cuba amid the recovery from the power failures from the hurricanes. This happened on Sunday and experienced a 6.8 magnitude hurricane about 11:49 local time, about 24 miles south of Bartolome Massa, and the depth about 14 kilometers. Tremor followed by earlier 5.9 magnitude quake in the same vicinity. So dealing with weather that's knocking down the power grid, two big hurricanes which had issues, and the power grid failing on its own because Cuba does not get the support it does from many other places. They had a great big old flotilla from Russia come in a few months ago, but Russia's not building a power grid, and man, I don't want to trust the Russian power grid as well. This has sparked many concern for the folks living in the island as well. So if you're praying for Port-au-Prince and Haiti, so pray for Cuba and folks down there. Pray for everyone. Everyone can use the prayer. People living in some of these Caribbean countries who do not have the resources and honestly are just being battered by just the natural disasters that are happening. It is just putting people in dire situations. Let's go to the story at number 7. This one was lighthearted until it was not. Headline for the story reads, "Group bike ride for dumplings goes viral, draws thousands in China, blocking roads and sparking controversy." Now, a recent social media trend in China led to thousands of cyclists embarking on a 50-kilometer ride at night from Jingzhou to Kaifei in search of renowned soup dumplings. The spontaneous event, initiated by university students, resulted in significant traffic congestion and prompted authorities to impose traffic restrictions. The phenomenon, dubbed the night riding army, highlighted the influence of social media on youth culture and challenges it poses to urban infrastructure. But there is a cloud in this overcase of a great story. The mass participation in the event underscores the power of online platforms mobilizing large groups for seemingly simple activities such as late night quests, but the gridlock became issues for people who had to get places. And unfortunately, spontaneous gatherings are not exactly what China is really known for and good about because it brought up a lot of other spontaneous sort of gatherings, such as the ones that happened before the Tiananmen Square issue, where they spontaneously gathered in Tiananmen Square to start protesting. So is one, pushing back for traffic and just being rowdy. Number two, making sure they don't get too organized and understand how easy it is to get together and say something and have a statement because it is China after all. Our final story, not so much controversial, but it does. I'm going to go into inside of how we into these stories a little earlier than the next spot or the teaser spot. Now, early Monday morning, like in the wee hours of Monday, we posted a story about Issa Rae being going to Georgia State to talk to the there about her career. I basically a seminar how her career was basically as her being a made woman in the industry, going from internet to acting big time doing stuff, and it's a really big deal. In the wee hours of this morning, Tuesday, we posted a link for Beyoncé, who has a Yale class being offered to study her up. The Monday story obviously had all Monday to gather moss, and it gathered Peggy Moss. It was very engaging. We were going to talk about that one because it was a true story. The Tuesday story Didn't have enough time to gather enough moss, but it gathered enough to actually be viable because Beyonce is a bigger star than Issa Rae going with Beyonce. The numbers don't really want aren't crushing, although they would be in the whole day. We're doing Beyonce and did a quick hit on Issa Rae. So if you want to go check them out, look in our feeds or just search for her going to Georgia State law students. But the story we have from number 8, after that very long introduction, Yale University is set to offer a course on Beyonce and her legacy. The course is titled Beyonce Makes History, colon, Black Racial Tradition, History, Culture, Theory, and Politics Through Music. And it's a spring semester course for 2025 for Yale, developed by Professor Daphne Brooks of the African American Studies and Music Department. Aims to explore Beyonce's culture and political contributions. It will analyze her artistic work from 2013 to 2024, about 11 years worth of stuff, including Lemonade, Renaissance, and Cowboy Carter, to examine the themes in Black history, feminism, activism, and cultural memory. Course is cross listed in American Studies, Gender Studies, and music departments, making it to a wide range of students. She did similar things, something called Black Women in Popular Music Culture, highlighting popular music across for students, something else very popular. And so this is a way to bring in some extra eyeballs to the Yale University because it's Beyonce, and bring in some folks into a department that normally wouldn't take her classes because they're mostly music or specifically African American based. This one, because Beyonce belongs to all of us, she does. She just is. Beyonce exists. Sort of have the joy to have her existing. And this course is going to mean something. Now, there will be some backlash. People think it's a kind of a fakish course, and they won't take it not as serious as maybe they should, but maybe they should. Maybe they should. We're going to just say it like that. And like I said, shout out to Issa Rae, who gets her due and her flowers at Georgia State, talking to law students about how her career has progressed, which is a great thing. We went with the bigger idol, unfortunately. We had to go with Beyonce. Beyonce was all. Let's go to the teaser portion of the thing, and this is where we actually tell you how the shows get into the stories get into the shows every single morning. Now, I talked about the difference between engagement in the story on Issa Rae and on Beyonce because it makes a difference. By the numbers, Issa Rae had a bigger deal because she had more time to grow. But by engagement, by thought process, we went with Beyonce just as an audible. What you do as followers of the Conversation Project's feed, friends and family, if you will, is you engage in news stories across the platforms we have and let us know which stories are more engaging, more worthy of talking about. So we don't just pick the top stories of the morning or so it's not like that. Exactly. We take 30 stories within a day's worth of time, post about every 50 minutes or so, and we give you the chance to engage in them so you get a vote. You like them, you love them, you hate them, you share them, you comment on them, you read them. The higher engagement score they get between Facebook, facebook.com/this conversation project, X, x.com/th underscore conversation, and threads, threads.net/at this conversation. The higher chance we have to talk about it. And literally the numbers are big enough. We pull it out and we put it in the batch and see which stories make better stories and which stories are just so overwhelmingly popular we just can't get away from them. It's that simple. Here's one that we're hoping to talk about tomorrow because this is one that has some deeper repercussions, especially since we're going to talk a lot about the appointments being made quickly for the Trump administration. Didn't do many appointments today because we talked about Trump basically winning the House, the Senate, and the presidency, but Marco Rubio's in there, Kristi Noem's in there, Stefanik's in there. A whole bunch of names. They're saying a whole bunch about where things are going. So we'll talk about some of those things tomorrow. We'll see how they engage. Engage in this one, if you will. Ways of January 6th, defendants cite Trump election in request to delay cases. Now that Trump is the president, many people that are on tried before the January 6th haven't been tried yet are wanting to push back because they want to watch the inauguration, I guess. They think Trump's going to do more to push it away. They think they may go away. Trump may pardon every single person that was on the grounds of the Capitol on January 6th. Who knows? Nobody really knows what's going to happen. But basically, they're saying since Trump is now president and all the things in Trump world that are Trump's actual cases have been pushed back, maybe theirs should be pushed back as well. Will we engage in this one tomorrow? It's up to you. We did engage in Justice Sonia Sotomayor not leaving her post because that was a story we teased yesterday. You guys gave that plenty of talk because you guys definitely wanted to get engaged in that story for today. Let's go to our spotlight sponsor for today. That happens to be the company called Zenni Optical. At this is the conversationproject.com slash ZENNI for Zenni. Now, they have stylish portable eyewear that doesn't compromise on quality, and that's a great thing for you. Transform your eyes, transform your look, transform your whole demeanor with glasses from Zenni. Thousands of frames and styles for every look, classic to trendy, and the prices are classic and trendy. They fit your budget. Very, very low prices for great frames. Very, very affordable prices for great lenses. All the technology you're looking for, blue blocking technology, sports glasses technology, anti-glare, anti-scratch, all those things are there. And they actually let you make it easy to find your next pair of glasses by putting a picture of your face with your mug right there in the setting. And you get a chance to virtually test the glasses there with you. And don't pay $100 to send six back. Pay what you want for the glasses you want. If you don't want them, send them back. Pretty simple. And if you join in now as your very first time buying from Zenni Optical, they will give you 10% off your first purchase. And I am a 10-year buyer. So my 10% is well done, well lost, but in that case, but I still buy from them, oddly enough, same frames every single time for 10 years straight. They are reliable. They look pretty good on me, and they'll take care of you with your glasses for you, for your spouse, for your kids, men's, women's, and children's glasses. Beautiful glasses. Check them out at this is the conversationproject.com slash Zenni. This conversationproject.com slash Zenni. Zenni Optical is or our link for Zenni Optical is an affiliate link, so we get a small commission for your use of that link. So please use our link to help us get things going, keep things going here for the Conversation Project. Quick check to hype ourselves. The Conversation Project lives online at this is a conversationproject.com. Many calls to action we give here, but the biggest ones is stop by this is the conversationproject.com and visit the menu links there as you see fit. Links to our sponsors, links to our partnership page, links to past episodes of the work we do, and links to all the places we happen to inhabit, such as TikTok and Threads and X. Find those links right there at our website. This is a conversationproject.com, of course, and you can also email us as you wish, the conversation inbox at gmail.com. We ask you to do the cheapest things that which are the most important things for us to do. Email us with your comments so we know how to engage with you guys, do better things for the show, and stop by and just check out the website so you can find us on our feed, all the feeds, so that you can make sure we are talking about the stories that are the most engaging, the most conversational. We post stories that have interesting headlines, and sometimes we post things just because we got to fill the gaps. You never know what's going to happen until you guys engage the story. Sometimes stories are just it's 11:30 at night. I've got to post my overnight stories, pop them in there, and it's just something that takes space. And sometimes there are things that are like, man, people are going to really chat this one up, and it's crickets. You don't really know what you want to talk about other than kind of getting off the beaten path of what mainstream is giving all day long because there's going to be basically Trump, Trump, Trump for a long time. So we get in some other good stories, some other things to kind of lighten up the mood and get you more information. We want your help. Let's do that. We thank you so much for your help in all that. That we thank you so much for joining us for this edition of the show. Things you might not have heard, brought to you on Tuesday, November 12th edition of 2024. Follow us on our feeds on Facebook, on X, on Threads, so you can tell us what stories to actually chat up in the next iteration. That's tomorrow. 8 stories on the docket for tomorrow, and they'll come from the bulk of this Tuesday and a little bit of Wednesday morning. There's always a little bit of overnight to get in there that sometimes people that are up late at night, the midnight 1 a.m. They often make bigger deals for some of these things. The Beyonce one did get some traction. There'll probably be a blown up story by the numbers by tomorrow morning, but we did it today because we want to do it today. That is all. That is it. Coming up in about 5 minutes, we'll click the button to open up things you might ought to know. That's the fun stuff, the birthdays, the history lesson, and a fun celebration for the day to give you something lighter, something a little bit more um, yeah, amenable conversation in the feed. But don't forget, we have this thing here every single weekday morning live at 5:50. We also have the news clips chopped up from this one. And when time allots, we're going to actually do some other things that are engaging. One, we'll do some just sort of hot takes based stories that are up right now before we get a chance to get your engagement and get some comments. And we're going to do some looking back. We're going to try to do every day or every other day as we get some massive responses from some of the stories that are being engaged, the news clips. How you people are reacting with your comments? Because your comments are giving me life right now. They are all over the place in their spectrums. So there's some love, some hate, some conservative, some liberal, some for, some against. But basically, you guys are really on fire lately with the news clips, and I'm glad that's happening, both on the news clips here on the YouTube, on the live stuff, and TikTok as we do the clips there as well. So if you're a TikTok fan, make your comments there as well. Those are way into our upcoming thing. We don't have a name for it yet, but we're going to start commenting on some comments and do things there. Plus, I want to do the Blinkist Book Club here. We'll see if that happens. With that, let's wrap up this thing and bid you no further ado for the next thing or something like that. I am Jake Cleveland Payne. Thank you for being with us for the show, being a part of the family. Love you so much. Mean that with all my heart. Be back with us again for a Wednesday edition of Things You Might